a 22 rifle was left on a property where a 3-year-old girl comes to stay with her father. The next day, the guy comes home. There was a man standing on his property. He threatened the man to get off his property. The man left. Later on that night, found out there's an orgy going on and people that are living in trailers and in condemned homes that are conducting that. And what we got later for that, a man tried to rape somebody and they sent him walking down the street where my 11-year-old daughter lives. Now, this has been, like you guys, 3 years. This is 4. This summer's making the 4th year. City's been involved for over a year. There's been confrontations between my wife and the people in the condemned domes now, which was put on video too and sent to Sheila. Now, I don't know if she sent them to you, however, wherever they go from there. It's getting worse. Somebody's going to get hurt. We've got 2 neighbors now that have told the police officers straight out, without question, they come on my yard, I won't ask why they're there. I will shoot them. Period. I had 2 little kids. I was in Chicago spending a little time with my daughter before she goes back to school, took her to Great America. We have 2 little kids from that residence down the street. Looked like they were trying to break into our house. We were going through Chicago Loop. We called the police. What did we get? And I have nothing against the police, don't get me wrong. I'll correct that right there. But what did we get? They're juveniles. What do you want me to do? They're kids. And I told them straight up at that point, I wouldn't determine how old they are. They're breaking into my residence. It doesn't matter to me how old they are. They're still thieves. And once they start that young and the parents don't even know where they are, because that came clear the next night when we called out for the argument. They had no idea where their kids was. None.
Thank you,
So
sir.
something's got to happen. Something's got to happen before something worse happens.
Thank you.
And Officer Cole, in the last couple weeks, 17 complaints, documented complaints. But yet we don't have a nuisance area. Not one house, area. If it was one house, I could handle that. I can't handle that area. And I had to. As Sheila knows.
Thank you, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Kathy Kirschner. My address is 538 Marquette, 46617. The rental property that I am here addressing is 2234 Highland. It is the property that was given a rifle in the middle of the night by someone we've never seen before. She looked by video as though she walked off of the Mad Max set. It is very, very scary image of a person with like a shaved head and tattoos and scant wearing clothing, walking down the alley with a blanket or a rug, and for some reason entered into our property. By the way, I just spent $700 putting another privacy fence up in order to try to give them some safety in there. As they mentioned, the young man who's renting is a 24-year-old kid with a 2-year-old little girl. And so we've been trying to fortify this area to keep it safe for our renter. And clearly, you know, this is not working. He went and bought a padlock to put across the gate. So while we're here and we're trying to live our lives and we're respectful of those who are making the laws, and we're anticipating our law enforcers have our, you know, we have full confidence and they have our support, but we can't understand how the lawmakers and law enforcers are not seeming to enforce what should be common sense, practical laws. Here's a case in point. I'm learning more and more all the time how difficult it is to uproot squatters, and this is a fascination to me. But I have them made aware that, water is an issue. If a residence does not have a water source that is safe, then that's an automatic condemn, seal and vacate. So luckily, we recently had all of those properties were sealed and they were vacated. But the gentleman who has come back, Gerald Zock, who owns all these properties, I know you're aware. And I thank you, by the way. I know that you have been thinking of this and that you understand our plight. Super grateful. Our councilwomen have been at different meetings and, oh, thank you so much. I mean, I know that we're not invisible and I know that we have your heart and your consideration, your care. I spoke to Mark from the health department today because the property is providing water from what I believe to be an illegal well, who has access to water, went off of the water, the city water, and is accessing a well and is running a garden hose, diverting water from an illegal well to give water to all of those residences. Those houses had been condemned, sealed, vacated, but the health department lifted the condemnation on those when they went and saw that there was running water. So I asked Mark, though that water is illegal water, and I don't think it's potable if it's coming from a garden hose and it's coming from an illegal well, what's going on with that? That seems to me that should not have lifted the condemnation on that property. And so we spoke. And he told me, well, that's really a building violation. That would have been something would have pulled the permit on the building. I said, okay, tell me who exactly to call. And you call them too. And then I'll have Sheila Nisgati call, and I'll have my neighbors, we'll all call. So who are we going to call at the building to see how we can get this condemnation? He said, well, if you call them, they're going to say it's a health department thing. So the health department told me to call building, but then told me that is really theirs. And so maybe someone from the council can find out, right? Somebody at the health department, if it's their job, they need to check out this well. And if it's an illegal well, it needs to be shut down. If that water's being diverted by garden hose, that to me is it's one way that you are helping us, wanting to help us. This looks like a kind of an easy fix. If it's an illegal well and the water's being diverted, then that could be no water, condemnation, seal, vacate, and then a lot of the zombies in the neighborhood, could go. And that's what I would really like. Thanks for help.
Thank you so
Bless you.
much. Yes, ma'am. Thank
And
you.
if you could also talk a little bit, I know you're saying that you are all actively thinking about it. Anything that you could tell us now as we're leaving at 10:30 at night to know, what is it that you're thinking about? What are you doing? What are some things? What are some practicalities? Give us some hope to go home with tonight. That would be awesome. Thank you.
Judy Hagedorn, 2220 Highland. I've called 311. The grass at 2311 has not been cut all summer long. They put 2 trailers on there now, both condemned properties. She's right. He's running a garden hose. He dug it under so you guys wouldn't find it. That's how he got water. And now he's got pedophiles even more. And I got an 11-year-old. She's not going outside now. She's staying in the house. He's literally, you guys gave him 2 weeks to get it cleaned up. It looks worse. He pulled down a thing without a permit. You get a cease order. He's still doing it. He's doing whatever he wants. Somewhere there's got to be responsibility on him, and it can't be fines anymore. It's time to take his properties because we're done with it. And it is escalating where the cops are being called more because they're down there saying, well, we're doing this and we're going to be around and there's nothing you can do about it. And that's what we feel like. There's nothing we can do about it. We're paying taxes. This man's hundreds of $1,000s in whole on all his taxes. And he's still doing whatever he wants. The fines aren't working for him. We got to come up with another solution.
Thank you. Please state your name for the record, please.
Yes, it's Logan Foster, 1138 College Street. Members of the Common Council, before I begin, I would like to acknowledge the terms and conditions for public comment that were read aloud by President Kenneth Lee at the start of this session. I must ask, what is the true purpose of these public comments if the rules governing them are not applied consistently? President Lee has stated that no speaker may exceed the 3-minute time limit, yet on July 14th, 2025, President Lee permitted a speaker to consume 4 minutes and 37 seconds of the 30-minute public comment period. If one individual is allowed to exceed the established time limit, then all speakers must be afforded the same opportunity. To do otherwise, that constitutes a form of government censorship known as viewpoint discrimination. Viewpoint discrimination occurs when the government selectively enforces rules based on agreement or disagreement with the content of a speaker's message. This practice is in direct violation of the First Amendment of the United States Constitution. The First Amendment guarantees that the government cannot favor one viewpoint over another by selectively applying or disregarding its own rules. The record will show numerous instances where parliamentarians and our parliamentarian have interrupted, shouted down, and even berated speakers who exceeded their allotted time by mere seconds while attempting to complete a thought. Yet in the case of the individual who spoke for over 4 minutes and 30 seconds, there was no such intervention. This inconsistency in enforcement is a clear example of viewpoint discrimination. Furthermore, there are additional concerns regarding the conduct of these sessions. On multiple occasions, President Lee has allowed speakers to approach the podium and engage in physical displays such as pounding their fists. If such actions are permitted to some, would it not also constitute viewpoint discrimination to prohibit similar actions from future speakers? Every decision made by President Lee in these sessions sets a precedent. It is imperative that President Lee understands the weight and responsibility of his position. The role of the council president is not merely ceremonial, nor is it to serve as a rubber stamp for Mayor James Mueller. The people of South Bend deserve a leader who upholds the principles of fairness, impartiality, and constitutional integrity. So I urge you, President Lee, take your position serious. The power and trust vested in you by the people of this city demands nothing less.
Hey, I want to say thank you. I don't know what you're talking. I don't know about a person going 4 minutes and 13 seconds because Bob Palmer is always our timekeeper. But if someone did, I apologize. I apologize because we try to stay on a tight ship. So again, I'm a man and I'm not afraid to admit when I've been wrong. So if I was wrong, I apologize. Yes.
Carlos Leyva, 448 South Olive Street, South Bend, Indiana. For the good news first, we had Adriana Swanson, Washington High School, placed third nationally in 110-meter hurdles. Good stuff. Now for the not so good news, Ivy's scores came out and not doing so good. And so we had to look at the data and figure out what our game plan is, because next year we can't blame Todd Cummings or the previous administration, because now we have to come up with a new game plan. So we have to get hands on deck and figure out how do we get those English scores up. It's going on throughout the whole state, but we're getting the most funding. So we have to find ways to use that funding to get these scores up. School's right around the corner, so we need to get going. And I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about our in-house counsel, Pete Augustino. He's doing a really good job for us. I just talked to him at his office today. He serves not only as a liaison for the community, but as a mentor too. We just talked about, family life. He asked me, how's it going? And it's really rare when you have a city attorney acts like a mentor and advisor, can call him anytime. So we're really lucky to have him, and I hope he keeps doing some good stuff for us. But thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, that's being all. Thank you all for your time and your consideration and your comments today. And we are working to make things better for you. It's a process, but we are working. God bless you, and we're praying that you have a safe night. Thank you. Meeting is adjourned.